Today on CityCast Philly, we're back with another midweek news roundup. We're talking about how Philly could be losing its spot as the sixth largest city. And city lawmakers are proposing curfews. Plus, we're testing our news knowledge with the weekly news quiz. It's Tuesday, May 21st. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week is Abby Fritz, CityCast Philly producer. Hey, Abby.
Good morning, Trenae.
Hey. And Asha Prihar, Hey Philly newsletter editor. Hey, Asha.
Hi, Trenae.
All right, let's talk about some news stories. Something we're watching is the pro-Palestine encampment that was set up this Saturday at Drexel University. That's according to 6ABC. After marching from City Hall, around 50 protesters set up camp at Corman Quad. As of Monday, the school announced a lockdown, which means no one can enter Drexel University buildings without a student ID, and all classes were being held virtually. We'll be keeping an eye on that story as it progresses. In other news, I read in a NBC Philadelphia article that Philly could be losing its spot as the sixth largest city in America. That's according to some recent census data. So the data shows that Philly lost about 3.3% of its population between April 2020 and July 2023, which means our overall population is about 1.55 million people. The city that is coming close to our population numbers is San Antonio. Their population is about 1.49 million people. Does that surprise y'all?
I honestly don't know. I don't know anything about San Antonio, really.
Have you ever been to San Antonio, anyone?
I can't say I have.
I haven't either.
I've been to Texas a few times, but I've always gone to like Houston. So
I've been to Dallas, which is on the other side, and I've been to Austin, but not San Antonio.
I would have just never guessed. It just kind of feels random. Like I didn't realize it was such a big city, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Texas has so many large and growing cities that sometimes it's hard to keep track of, you know, like who's ranking.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I also want to note that in the article, it says that other major cities, some of our peer cities, are also seeing drops in their population. So this leads me to think, why are people leaving Philly? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe, you know, the pandemic comes to mind as a reason that people have been kind of leaving cities across the country in general. There was a lot of kind of exodus out of cities from that.
Right, because people wanted like more space, you know, they needed to work from home or, you know, they just wanted to stretch their arms out, you know what I mean? And not be in these like tight cities. So I'm also thinking, speaking of like living arrangements, I'm thinking like the price of rent, you know, it's crazy. So I wonder like crime, education issues, you know, some of those other quality of life, you know, needs for people. Maybe that's making people leave cities.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I don't know why you'd ever want to leave Philly.
I know.
Yeah. I love Philly.
We have good shows if you want to look at our catalog of reasons why you should stay in Philly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will say, happy for San Antonio because it seems like they are actually one of the cities that's growing in population. So good for them. That said, if they pass us, Philly is still number 6 in my heart. Well, actually, no. It's number 1 in my heart. What am I talking about? That was so cheesy. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
But really, like, I think that, you know, I think it's cool to see cities growing. I wish we were growing, but I don't know where I'm going with this.
Okay. It's okay.
More Philly for us. Everybody's leaving. It means I get a bigger piece of the pie, you know? So they don't know what they're missing.
More news after the break. All right, shifting gears, city lawmakers are considering curfews. Abby, who's proposing this idea?
Yeah, so according to an article by the Philadelphia Inquirer, Last Thursday at a council meeting, there was actually 3 council members who introduced legislation that proposes curfews in the city. So this includes Councilmember Anthony Phillips in District 9, which covers parts of Northwest and Northeast Philly, Councilmember Cindy Bass of the 8th District in North Philly, which includes communities like Germantown, Mount Airy, Chestnut Hill, Logan, and then also Councilmember Michael Driscoll of District 6, which covers a good chunk of the Northeast. And that also neighbors Councilmember Ketsi Lozada's council district. She passed a bill back in March invoking a mandatory curfew, which the Inquirer noted may have inspired these 3 council members to kind of hop on this bandwagon now. So these curfews are going to apply to businesses, but not to those with a liquor license, and comes with a $500 fine for any violations. The specific areas in each district include in District 9, from midnight to 6 a.m., and from Ogontz Ave between Haynes Street and 66th Avenue. In District 8, it would apply to businesses around the Ole Transportation Center from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., and also in that time frame, District 6 curfew would be on East Allegheny, Kensington, Torresdale, and Frankfurt Avenues.
Are curfews even effective? I remember we talked about that some time ago.
Yeah, we did. So back in 2022, we did an episode on the podcast about if curfews work for teens specifically. We spoke with Dr. Katerina Roman, who's a criminal justice professor at Temple University. She said that they do make people feel safer, curfews, but that there's kind of mixed results from studies about if they actually impact violence or victimization, and that they generally don't show any significant changes to that. But, obviously this is very different situation from what these council members are proposing. They're proposing curfews on businesses, and based on that article from the Inquirer, which we'll have linked in our show notes, they're trying to address crimes that they say have come from smoke shops and also skill games that are now in many shops across the city, which for those that don't know are those kind of casino-style gaming terminals that have been popping up. And then also the quote-unquote lawlessness people feel that came during the pandemic times. We'll have a link to that podcast episode if you're interested in hearing more from Dr. Katerina Roman in our show notes. And we'll see if this gets passed, if they'll be effective for these communities and these districts in the city.
Thanks for bringing this story, Abby. And we'll definitely keep our eyes on this, especially if there's critics on this proposed idea. And finally, it's that time of the show where we test our news knowledge for this week's news quiz. Asha, take it away.
Sure thing. So got a couple questions here for you guys. And the first one is about politics and voting. So the Inquirer reported last week that 16,216 Democratic voters in Philadelphia cast a write-in vote in the presidential primary back in April. So my question for you is, what percentage of those votes, those 16,000 votes, ended up being marked void?
Interesting. I was hearing that some people were writing in undecided and things like that. Is that what they were voiding them for?
That is related, yeah.
Okay. 8.3%. That's my guess.
Okay, I was going to go higher. I was going to say 35%.
Okay, wow.
Okay, so Trenae is closer, but still quite far away.
Okay, 75%? That was my next guess.
You're getting closer.
Oh my gosh.
95%?
Okay, you're over now. But I can just tell you guys, it was 90%, or 14,625 of those write-in votes in the Democratic presidential primary were marked void. And this is because, it may be because, but it's probably because, you may have heard that there's this push for Democratic voters to vote uncommitted in the presidential race to protest President Joe Biden's stance on the Israel-Hamas war. Mm-hmm. And so according to the Inquirer, anyone who wrote in uncommitted actually had their ballot marked as void because that's the procedure if you write in a write-in vote, but the vote isn't for a particular person. So if you write in Donald Trump or Jason Kelce or something, like they'll record that and they'll write down like this many people voted for Donald Trump, this many people voted for Jason Kelce if like that person's not already in the ballot. But if you write in uncommitted, it counts as void. So so it's likely that a lot of these voted votes were uncommitted voters. And also as a note, write-ins actually were a much larger proportion of the Democratic primary vote this presidential election than in previous years. There were actually around 10% of the votes in Philly's Democratic presidential primary were write-ins. And usually that's, back in 2020, that was 1%.
Interesting.
Well, moving on to the next question, which, just really switching gears here. We're going to talk a little bit about vacations.
I need one.
So, but I know summer is coming, but this is actually about the winter. So American Airlines announced last week that it's expanding its winter schedule and adding some direct flights from Philadelphia International Airport to some tropical destinations, direct flights. So which of the following cities is not one of the new flights? I'm going to give you 3 options. Bridgetown, Barbados is one option. Bora Bora in French Polynesia is another option. And Liberia in Costa Rica is your 3rd option. So the question is, which of these is not one of the new flights?
I'm going to guess Bora Bora.
I want to guess Bora Bora. That's like my gut, and I should go with my gut. But something tells me like Costa Rica is, because you said Liberia, Costa Rica, which threw me off because like Liberia is a country in Africa. So like that threw me off. So I'm going to say C.
Well, Liberia, Costa Rica is a real place for the record. I didn't make it up. But your gut was right with this one. It is Bora Bora. That is the fake flight that I made up. So according to NBC 10, American Airlines recently announced that they're going to be adding Saturday-only service to Barbados starting on November 9th and Saturday-only service to Costa Rica starting on December 7th. So if you're looking for a tropical vacation, you have more options now.
Cool.
All right. So for question number 3. So it was announced on Friday that the city is going to embark on this like big cleaning campaign where, according to WHYY, over 12 city departments are going to be aiming to clean streets in every neighborhood, fix potholes, remove abandoned cars, and more. My quiz question here is, how long is this program supposed to last?
I know that 2026 is a big year for our city. It's the 250th anniversary of the nation's history. And I know that's a big thing. So maybe they're cleaning up for this big event. So I'm going to say that this program is going to go until 2026.
That's a great guess. I have a totally unfounded guess of 6 months.
Okay. I love the long-term vision here. But this specific program is supposed to last 13 weeks. It's supposed to be like a summertime thing.
Oh my gosh.
Can they do all of that in 13 weeks?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. It feels pretty ambitious. They're saying they want to like clean streets in every neighborhood, like down to like every block. So I'm like, whoa, that's
what's up.
That feels like a lot. Like there are a lot of blocks in Philadelphia. So this push is supposed to start on June 3rd and then continue throughout the summer. So
cool.
I guess we'll see if they meet their target there.
That's what's up.
We're watching you.
I love it.
Up the streets, Philly.
All right, that was Asha Prihar, Hey Philly newsletter editor, and Abby Fritz, CityCast Philly producer. Thanks, y'all, for joining me this week on the Midweek Roundup.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Trenae.
I have a favor to ask. CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it would be really helpful for us if you took a look at it. Please take the survey at citycast.fm/survey. It's only 7 minutes. That's citycast.fm/survey. Plus, survey takers will also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast swag. That's citycast.fm/survey. Even if you took it last year, we would be so grateful if you took it again, since we can't use last year's data. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this midweek roundup, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.